Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be going over 5 players that impressed during the Washington Commanders OTAs in week 1. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Super close to 11,000 subscribers. Also hit that like button and that notification bell as well. I was going to do this video a couple days ago, but was on vacation, couldn't do it. Saw Ed did one, and I'm sure other people did as well. Make sure you guys check them out as well. But let's get right into it. So I think we had one day where some fans were there, the next day where the media was there, and I think they had another day where I don't think either the fans or the media were there, but they had a few days, and I think they have a couple days this next week as well. So we'll get some recaps in there as well. But let's start off with the number one guy, and that's Sam Howell, the one everyone wants to know about how he did, and he did pretty well. Overall, I think he's the clear standout from camp. Yeah, he had a couple mistakes. He had an interception that, Percy Butler intercepted, but besides that, he looked pretty good. Here's a clip. Can't show too many clips, but I believe this is just a clip from Sam Howell during OTAs. He drops back and throws it, let's see, to Cole Turner, who was another guy that played well as well. There's one to Gibson and to Jahan Dotson as well. And Jonathan Williams. I think he threw a couple passing touchdowns to Jonathan Williams and Antonio Gibson. So you guys can see some nice throws right there, all very accurate, leading the receiver for the most part, which is something that Heineke and Wentz and the quarterbacks we've had the last few years haven't been able to do. So that's something that's a very big positive. I just want to read some things that he said, or Zach Selby said about Sam Howell in training camp. He says it was the first time OTAs. It was the first time we got to see Sam Howell in EB's offense, and he looked apart. Taking the first team reps in 7v7 and 11v11. His arm strength also showed itself in spurts during individual drills. He rolled out to his right and unloaded a 30-yard shot to Curtis Samuel. And so let's see, he only had 4 incompletions in both 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills. One was out of bounds targeting B-Rob. The rest were drops. So looks like he did really, really well. He had a nice throw to Terry where, Benjamin St. Juste was on him. And he had another throw, a nice throw to John Bates, who made the snag right before Quan Martin could break up the play. So looks like, for the most part, Howell looked really good. This is another recap, day 2. Let's see if they say anything about Sam Howell. Not much, but actually he does. They said quarterback Sam Howell came out strong in the first day of OTAs, delivering precise throws and moving well in the pocket. A little bit more uneven, a sign that Howell is still developing, but there were still some positive moments. He completed 5 out of 6 passes in the final team drill of the day, including 2 tutties to Gibson and Williams. So he looked really good. Again, did have the interception to Percy Butler, but Howell looked good and was really accurate, and was throwing a lot to Cole Turner, Logan Thomas, and that's good. That's good that he's one of the guys that are stood out during the first few days of OTAs. But here's the thing, I didn't say this earlier, but it is just OTAs, so you got to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. But again, it's good to see these guys play well here. And the next step is, let's build on it. So let's look good the rest of OTAs, and then you start doing that in mini camp and then training camp and then preseason, and then that'll translate hopefully to the regular season. And yeah, so that's the number one guy I wanted to talk about, was Sam Howell. And this is a tweet, but I basically already read that. Next guy is Quan Martin. He was all over the field and playing in a bunch of different spots, but I think they use him mostly in the slot, but he was going up against bigger targets. On one play, Martin's coverage was so effective that Thomas had to dive to try and make a play, although the pass from Howell ultimately fell to the ground before he could secure it. So Martin looked good, and that, I believe, in the second day, in the notebook for the second day, he said Quan Martin looked good as well. So second round pick, wasn't there for rookie minicamp, but was there for OTAs and was one of the guys that impressed. He said, once again, Quan Martin was all over the field today and got reps with the starters. Granted, May is a time for teams to try out different combinations and lineups, so let's not look for too much meaning into who is on the field with which players. However, it is a positive sign that the team trusts Martin enough to put him out there with the starters. So he's looking good, and I think he'll start. I mean, second round pick, you should be starting. You should be starting or playing significant snaps. And I think he will be doing, either one of those things. Might not start, but he'll play significant snaps. And even if he does start, he might be out like 20, 25% of snaps, just the way their defense works, where some packages they'll have a Buffalo nickel, sometimes they won't, and they won't need him. It really depends on where they have him, slotted at. Probably, ironically, slot. They'll probably have him there. And yeah, he's the number 2 guy. I mean, no order, but I mean, in terms of who played the best, but this is the second guy I talked about was Quan Martin. Next guy is Emmanuel Forbes. And he did get dusted by Terry one time, but for the most part, it looked like he held his own against some of the top receivers. He grabbed his second interception of the offseason. One was in minicamp, and this time it was in OTAs. Granted, it was against Jake Fromm, and he was going up against Marcus Kemp, but you like to see those guys produce turnovers, and a guy that, that's what he's supposed to do. So he was able to do that, and that is great, and he's producing turnovers. And I wanted to go over the other OTA session because he kind of talks about how he looked against some of the top receivers. So just trying to find this real quick. Sorry about that. But yeah, he said first round pick got his first of many reps against Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and Jahan Dotson. McLaurin made a catch near the sideline against Forbes early, but Forbes used his 4.3 speed to match Samuel and Dotson step for steps. His plays against all three wideouts should be fun to watch in OTAs and during training camp. So it looks like he held his own. Wasn't amazing, but pretty good, and got another interception and did well against Samuel and Dotson. And this is his first exposure to NFL receivers. I mean, he did go against some of them in minicamp or rookie minicamp, but those guys were mostly UDFAs and stuff. So this is more of a true test, and it's just going to be, I'm excited to see him continue to build on this. Keep building on it and seeing how he's progressing. That's what I'm excited for. That is what I'm excited for. And yeah, hopefully he continues to get these interceptions because I'm definitely rooting for him. Unlike, I know some people don't think I am, but I'm definitely rooting for him. So that was number 3, was Emmanuel Forbes. Next guy, and I'll give some, honorable mentions as well for the Commanders, but I did want to talk about Milo Eifler for the Commanders because looked like overall he's had a very, very solid, camp for the Commanders. I've heard his name multiple times. They said another solid defensive play came from linebacker Milo Eifler. Turner almost had a touchdown in the corner of the end zone, but right before he could secure the pass, Eifler batted the ball away to force the incompletion. I've heard multiple good things about Eifler. So Hudson was the guy we're kind of thinking would be that third linebacker, but it could be him, and I've heard some solid things about him, but it could be Milo Eifler as well. It's really a battle. Same thing, David Mayo, as much as we don't, love him as a defender, he could end up being that guy as well because we know Ron Rivera loves some David Mayo. Sorry about that. But yeah, Milo Eifler has been pretty good. And the last guy and there's not too much more to add to that, but I've heard his name multiple times, and I kind of want to throw in a sleeper there. Other guys, Casimir Allen, undrafted receiver, running back / kick returner out of UCLA. Zach Selby says, continues to look solid through OTAs with multiple targets and catches. It will be interesting to see if he can keep that production during training camp. And Rivera said he's a young man that most certainly has gotten our attention. He's a young guy that we went out and try to make sure we're able to recruit and bring him as a free agent. So he looked good, and haven't really heard much about him as a returner. I don't think they've done that, a lot of returning stuff in camp yet or in OTAs, but when we do start doing that, I want to see who is stepping up because, now with the new kickoff rule, kickoff returners are less important, but we don't really know who's going to be our returner, whether it's kick returner or punt returner. It could be Dax Milne, could be Casimir Allen, could be Danny Johnson. Who knows? And some guys that honorable mention, Cole Turner's a guy that I've heard some good things about. Antonio Gibson, I've heard some good things about him as well. And that's kind of it. Yeah, so some of these guys I talked about a lot more than others, like, Sam Howell and Quan Martin, and other guys like, Milo Eifler and Casimir Allen didn't talk about as much, but I want to throw in some sleeper guys that look good as well. And yeah, just to show them some love. And they said in the other notebook, they said Allen got a bunch of targets and, made some nice catches as well and could add something as a return specialist. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Check out Man to Sleep, link in the description. Peace, guys.